Hello again, everyone. It's me, Nick Michalak, and the astounding Steve Frazier.
The astounding. Wow, that's a new one. All right, thank you. Hello.
And we are starting a commentary series for the George A. Romero zombie films, the majority of them. But obviously, we have to start with the original Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah. This movie's like public domain now, isn't it?
In a way, yes. We'll talk about certain things in that regard, but this year actually marks the 55th anniversary.
Wow, this is the oldest one we've ever done, I think.
Yes, it is. So, film opened October 1st of 1968.
Whoa.
So, guys, if you have your own copy of it, we have the Criterion Edition. The very first film that we're covering that's actively in the Criterion Collection.
All right.
Because RoboCop, Halloween, Ghostbusters, they're all in it in the Laserdisc era. This one is a current one. It has a 4K release now from them.
Right. Which I don't know if is any better than the one that we're watching, which is the blue.
We'll talk. Anyway, so let's get started, guys. You get your own copy of it. Synced up to the timestamp of 0, but just so you know, on the Criterion version, there's a couple of screens ahead of it, like the distributor screen and like some things about the restoration. It runs about 40 seconds, so if you don't have that version, you might want to watch the timestamp until it gets to 40 seconds, then click in. So guys, get your subtitles turned on and follow along with us with the countdown. So in 3, 2, 1, play.
I love this logo.
It's nice, clean, simple.
I don't know anything about Janice.
No. But the thing behind the copyright situation was the fact that the film was originally had a different title on it. It was called Night of the Flesh Eaters.
Okay.
But the people who initially agreed to distribute the film told them they had to change the title because there's already a film called The Flesh Eaters. And they didn't want any complications or confusion or whatnot, so they told them to change it to Night of the Living Dead. But the problem was at the time, with copyright, you actually had to put the copyright on screen with the title, and the distributors forgot to do that when the title appears on the screen of the film here. Thus meaning it was public domain.
I was going to say,
I was hoping I was timing it right.
You're not.
No,
that's all right. I always love shots like this, because I always wonder, how many takes did they have to do to get it? I mean, maybe just one. But there, like you saw, there might be another one coming. So the fact that they did not put a copyright or a trademark or whatever on this means
they had no copyright whatsoever.
That oopsie made it basically up for grabs for anybody.
Right. And this thing was released like a month before the MPAA became a thing. So the problem was there was no real rating system at the time. So a lot of people, when this thing got screened, there were kids walking in and people not having a damn clue what they're coming into. Because in '68, as we'll get to, there really weren't gory films released. Scary stuff, but nothing that was particularly gruesome.
Sure.
And a lot of the critics at the time really had a lot of harsh things to say about that there was no, like, distributors didn't warn people ahead of time or put some kind of notice ahead of the film saying this is the type of film or there's certain imagery in this thing you might find disturbing or something.
Right.
So. But in terms of copyright, there's a loophole you can get in the whole thing. If you make alterations to the film or if you do a restoration on it, you can't copyright it. So this particular 4K restoration from the Museum of Modern Art, I think it was.
Yeah.
That one's held under strict copyright. So they did a specific restoration. They own this restoration of the film. So we couldn't take this and upload it to YouTube without Criterion jumping on us, knowing that it's their transfer.
Got it.
And that leads into a lot of other things, people doing alterations and colorizations and stuff like that later down the line we can get into.
So this was filmed outside of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, about a couple of miles north of it.
Pretty sure Romero is from there.
Oh yeah, that's pretty much where he shot the first 3 Dead films and a couple other things as well.
I always kind of thought this was weird. Like, this guy's argument is so correct. Like,
yeah.
Like, they really drove 3 hours each way just to visit a grave. I don't know. I mean, it's weird.
Yeah. He was always going on about daylight savings time.
Right.
Like, if you didn't change the clocks, I would have got up sooner. We wouldn't have these problems being here so late.
He's kind of a lanky gentleman.
Oh, yeah. But it's nice dialogue to kind of give you character up front.
Sure. Yeah, I can't even imagine what it must have been like in 1968 to walk into a theater. Now, granted, you know, they don't have trailers like we do today.
Yeah, this one probably didn't get a whole lot of promotion in that regard. Maybe a couple of radio spots or something else like that. The fact that they had trouble finding distributors because Romero and everyone they refused to make any cuts of the film or reshoot anything that certain Hollywood people wanted redone for the film. They wanted to preserve their vision of the film, so a lot of studios just like wouldn't acquiesce to everything and distribute the film. So you probably may have to put up money for a newspaper ad or something like that to get a little something for it.
Right.
But
it's funny, in that last shot, you can see half of the gravestone that's like to the left out of frame. And the last letters on the gravestone are like, here, this L-A-I-R.
Looks like Blair or something.
Well, the first thing I think of is Sinclair, which is from the cemetery in Halloween.
Okay.
And it makes me go, wait, is this the same place? And then
nah.
Clearly no, because one is in Pittsburgh and one is
in L.A.
In L.A., right. But I just thought that the similarity was interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of speaking of Halloween, because obviously this thing, you want to get out your inflation calculator.
Oh, yes. Let me pull it up.
There's the film, they had to throw in a lot of different investors to get, because the money they thought they were going to need for it ended up being woefully underestimated. So the budget got up to at least $100,000.
Okay.
And the film ended up grossing over $30 million.
Then. Or is that across all over?
At least at that point in time. So, well, I think it wasn't until Halloween definitely broke that, because I think it grossed a whole lot more money than that.
Right. Well, as soon as my internet decides to start working, we'll check the calculator.
Yeah, Halloween got $70 million, so it definitely blew it way out.
Oh, maybe it is Blair, because there's the B on this side.
Let's try the 100,000 first, for budget-wise.
This is 1968.
How much they had to scrape up in today's dollars.
All right, 1968, and we need 100,000.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to calculate, and that is 841,000.
Oh.
So it's still under $1 million.
Yeah.
Which is still really cheap to make a movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so
today it would be a Kickstarter crowdfunding scenario, trying to reach up some goals here.
Right.
So
now,
punch up the 30 mil.
Yeah, that's what we're doing right now.
So, okay, maybe about 8.5 times. So we're probably looking at over 240. If my math's right?
Let's see. That sounds right. Hold on. 3. Yep, 252.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, what we've kind of
passed over the ghoul here.
One of the two major problems that I have with this movie.
Okay.
Is the inconsistency with which the zombies travel.
Okay.
Like, for example, this guy was plodding along, and now he's
very violent,
running, and I mean, yes, very active. It's almost like that's not a zombie; it's just a person.
Yeah. I kept thinking, watch, it's like, okay, there's no standard set yet, so how does Romero direct these people? You can't just have, just act like a zombie, because it's not, it doesn't exist yet.
He created the genre.
Right.
Basically.
This version, yes.
The modern interpretation.
Yeah.
Now, I was looking at the calculator. Did Johnny already get it over there?
Yeah, he got chomped on.
Okay. Interesting that they killed off one of what you assume is a main character right away. I don't know enough about pre-1970s horror to know if final girls were a thing.
I don't really think so.
So, I don't know. Jesus, where'd you learn how to drive? This is why he drove 3 hours.
I don't think she had the keys. Keys are with Johnny.
Oh,
she just hit the parking brake.
Got it. Gonna be like, that's why he drove 3 hours, because clearly she can't even navigate a tree. But, I don't know if the, female survivor was really a thing, or...
I can't imagine it was anything mainstream. Because the closest thing after this would be Psycho, and that's not really the template of Psycho at all.
Right. Like, that looks more zombie-esque.
Yeah.
Lumbering and kind of whatever.
Twisted up a little bit.
Right. Okay, maybe I have 3 problems with this movie.
Sure, okay.
We'll see if I can pace them out here, and so that we don't blow my load all in the first 3 minutes.
Okay.
12 minutes, whatever we're at. See, I feel like right there, the lumbering,
makes more sense.
Right.
Yeah.
But man, he was really moving when he was trying to get her in the car.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain things looking at it in a certain way. It's okay, he's trying to hit it with the brake and he can't break the glass, so it kind of shows that he's
weaker,
not as strong as a regular person, but it still has a little, that he's more animated and he can be a bit more aggressive.
Look at the spick and span in a box back there. That's pretty cool. I have a thing of spick and span under my kitchen sink right now, but it wasn't powder and it didn't come in a box. Look at the ice box. Like, official ice box. Like, you got to put ice in that thing. Which might be what that thing was at the top. I don't know. It would be pretty terrifying, though, if you're putting yourself in her shoes, that this person or whatever has, attacked you. Leopard skin mounted to the wall.
The head on the other one.
Well, yeah, but that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
But the leopard skin...
There you go.
I think we saw some wild boar in there for a minute. It's almost like it's not the same person. But, I mean, clearly it is.
Yeah.
Now, you referred to him as a ghoul. Is that a...
It's not just word I came up with.
Okay, that's your word. Yeah. I thought maybe that was a Romero word. Or...
No.
Because, did the word zombie exist at this point?
It's not even said in the film.
Right.
So,
okay.
I mean, probably more towards like voodoo stuff here and there. That type of stuff in cinema, literature and such, but not in this form, I don't think. It would just be undead.
Now I'm curious where the first appearance of the word zombie actually takes place. We need our film historians out there to type in the comments section, please. Oh, Hal? Is that you? See, there he's moving real stiff, almost
Yeah.
like, he's still got rigor mortis.
Nice. The lighting's really nice.
Yeah.
Before, in this section here, right before they start turning all the lights on, it's got some real expressionistic, moody stuff going on.
Yeah, I mean, even that's really nice. Well done.
A lot of it feels kind of prototypical, sort of like early film student stuff you shoot on 16 millimeter or something. In that regard, I can see this film's is a very a necessary stepping stone because it's this really ambitious, low budget horror independent film. I feel like this has to happen to get Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, Evil Dead, stuff like that. Those independent stepping stones going up into the 80s and everything. This feels like this kind of...
It's like the gateway, right?
It sets the tone. It sets what... You see, Tobe Hooper probably saw this okay, we can achieve something. We don't have to have all the money in the world. We just have to have the vision and enough resources to make something happen.
Well, that and I feel like you have to have somebody believe in you in order to put it out.
Yeah.
You and I can make all the movies we want, but if nobody's going to distribute it, then who gives a shit?
Right. But this was Romero's first feature, but he founded the company, The Latent Image, with Russell Streiner and whoever the hell, John Russo, I think it was. And they were just doing commercials and TV stuff and here and there and whatnot. Just same thing. A lot of these directors got into the business through, Ridley Scott did 2,000 commercials before he directed the film or something like that.
Right.
Just working in that marketing vein to build up the skills and stuff like that to make sure you can step forward into narrative films.
Who's the one that did all the Madonna videos? Was that David Fincher?
Fincher did a lot of them, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
It's good blood. Might have just been chocolate syrup in a black and white.
It was Bosco.
Oh, sure. Syrup. There you go. Bosco.
It's like George Costanza.
Right.
It's a little code. Bosco.
You got it.
Ted Levine in Heat. He was Bosco.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I'm fascinated by this icebox.
Mm-hmm. In terms of casting, it's well-treaded material at this point in time we're talking about. But Duane Jones, Romero cast him just because he was the best actor for the role, because it really wasn't a standard to cast a black man in the lead of a film at the time. Unless you're a particular stature of some
Sidney
sort.
Poitier, right.
Yeah, someone of a certain high-end quality, and there's certain subject matter entailing that whole thing. It really wasn't a common occurrence. But then they kind of lead... Even though it wasn't Romero's intention to kind of have an initial social context for everything, everyone just started reading so much into it because of his casting and various other elements of the film, seeing it from different perspectives. But us not coming along until several years after this, we can't really put ourselves as much into the social political mindset people were in back in '68 to see what they saw.
Well, I mean, we're only 5 years removed from, Kennedy dying.
Oh, yeah.
And the, Martin Luther King.
King just died a couple months before this got released. He died in April. He got assassinated in April that year.
Well, okay. So then we are at...
So that
we're at the height then of...
Luther gets assassinated. That's that's as boiling hot of a social political landscape as you could get.
Right.
So people could easily walk in and see that complexion in this film and try to read other things into it.
Right. That pretty much kick-started the entire social movement.
And they shot this between August '67 and January '68, so they shot everything before any of that upheaval occurred. So it's interesting trying to assess the makeup when it's black and white, because you don't have as much kind of pale skin tones or kind of odd things going on. So
in some ways it just looks worse, but in other ways,
or at least harder to discern in a certain way. How much does anyone get really done up to certain degrees?
Yeah, I guess it can hide a lot of flaws.
Yeah. And the only reason they shot black and white is just because it was cheap at the time.
Right.
Shooting on color film, then you got to get the laboratory to do the color grading and the photochemical color timing, or what the hell they want to call it back then. You got to process it the right way to make sure the colors come out and everything. So it's the same reason Clerks was shot black and white. It just, put the money towards this, or I can just save it over here.
I don't recall off the top of my head, as an Oscars aficionado, in what year they stopped separating black and white from color in certain categories. I feel like there was a cinematography.
I would imagine so.
Was
maybe
a
production design, maybe?
Was black and white and also color, had their own separate categories. Yeah. I feel like it was long before this.
Maybe 50s at the latest.
It was before this.
That, yeah.
But in the grand scheme of things, really not that much,
Not that far removed, no.
Right. At this point, the Academy and the Oscars are only 30 years old.
Sure,
so,
still,
when you think
still
back,
in infancy, yeah.
Right. 30 years ago, as we record this, it's Unforgiven.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
winning Best Picture.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yeah, I guess. That's so weird. I watched those Oscars when I was a kid. And to think that the first one to here is the same as Unforgiven to now, blows my mind.
Well, yeah.
But you're right. It is interesting that this, black guy just gets the role.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
For these kind of mixed race,
Yeah. Cast and everything,
right.
Yeah. Where again, it's not talking about social issues like it's Blackboard Jungle or what the hell it is.
Right. Kind of credit to Romero for just,
And I'll say it right now, he's great in this whole thing. I really think he puts on the best performance of everyone in the film.
This guy?
Yeah, Duane Jones.
I never really cared for the way that she just kind of goes comatose here. I get it. I understand it.
Yeah.
It's just not what I want, I guess, as a viewer.
It is something they flip around when they do the Savini remake.
Yes.
Which we will get to.
I do think that that's one of the things that the Savini one does better.
So I was much more familiar with that version going into finally watching this. It's interesting, okay, they didn't change a whole lot in terms of the story beats or too many of the characterizations, but I can just look at the different actors doing their own different performances with the same material here.
Right.
And seeing that's where the
inspiration,
the origination from everything came from.
That clock says it's 10 to 12.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct? Is it really 10 minutes to midnight at this point in the story?
I doubt it, considering she ran over here when it was still broad daylight.
Right.
It was afternoon.
Is that a continuity error? I don't know.
Possibly, or someone just didn't wind the clock.
That could be. It could be just a dead clock.
Yeah.
I always thought it was hilarious that he just starts taking doors off frames.
There's a calendar for you.
There's, December 66. There's this much errant wood just about the house. Like, look at this.
Probably more then than you would find these days.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because it's just an old farmhouse.
Yeah.
But
probably been around for at least 50 years, if not probably longer than that, probably since like previous century.
Oh, I've got my little contribution. My little kindling.
You can club someone over the head with it.
I'll just put those there.
Yeah.
If you can use them, great.
But bring back up my thing with saying like prototypical student film thing. You can definitely tell this is made by people who've been doing the work for a while. It's not kind of
first timer.
It doesn't feel amateurish. It feels like polished filmmakers doing stuff that they know what shots to select and how to handle the camera, how to handle the lighting, stuff like that, how to cut the film.
I feel like I would be really good at the vision of like the directing and the cinematography portion, but that the lighting and the editing, I feel like I would be terrible at.
Not to discount the other things, but that definitely takes a certain other skill set.
Right. And I'm not saying that I'm
not great with lighting a scene, mainly because I don't have the gear for it. But
right.
If I bring someone over that been doing it for a while, they would know more techniques and stuff like that. I think you can convey vision better than you can execute vision.
Yeah, I think that's definitely what I am saying. That I have the vision, I can explain what I want, but I have no idea how to do it.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if you ever tried to take apart one of Grandma's old coffee tables or dining tables, but
they're tough.
I don't know if it just comes apart with a hammer like as easily as he does it.
Oh. In fact, they're cutting away. Oh, he's loosening
he is screwing it, okay.
Yeah, he's
all right.
Taking some proper time.
Okay, here's another thing that one of my next big major complaint.
Okay.
So he refers to the ghouls or zombies as, quote, those things.
Okay.
And he does it over and over and over and over again. Okay. And it pisses me off so bad. And then everybody else in the film starts calling it those things. And I don't know why. It just rubs me the wrong way. Like, clearly, they were at one point people. Can't you just call them people? For some reason, that phrasing of those things just irks me. I don't know why. And then, of course, when you don't like something, you notice it every time.
Sure.
And so now, like, there have been at least two. And I don't know if I need a those things clicker, but I know he may have just said it again. Granted, we have the volume down, so I'm reading it. It just seems weird. It's weird phrasing, and it's weird to repeat it so often. Now, I don't know if that was a choice to, like, get the audience to condition them that they aren't people, or like to make you more afraid of them by saying those things.
Right.
It's probably intense. There it is again.
It's the hard thing where it's like, okay, any later zombie films, they just refer to them as zombies because it's just part of popular lexicon to really have something to say about it. But here,
there is no word.
There's no commonality, common language about it. For him to say it and have people in the film to understand it and for people in the audience to understand it. Because it's not even used in the title of the film. And for even to him to start saying, they might say undead later on, but it's just one of those things like, they don't have a grasp on what's happening, what's happened to these people. It's an abstract concept they can't get their heads around.
Yeah, I feel like if it was not used as often, it wouldn't bother me as much.
Sure.
But I don't know. It's like they just keep saying it over and over and over, and it. I kind of like that she's now kind of regressing. Like, you know, she's kind of making no sense, babbling like a child.
Yeah.
Like that I like.
Didn't get swallowed up with her own trauma.
Right. It's actually like almost off-putting how like psychotic she is.
A little bit.
You're like, you know, clearly she's like, she's not really talking to him.
Right.
She's just kind of mentally or verbally assessing the day.
Right. Trying to make some kind of sense out of it.
Right. We did, when we were talking at the beginning, we did talk over Johnny's like one line in the movie.
Yes, you're coming to get you, Barbara.
Right. Which, it's weird in hindsight that he would make such a joke and then 3 minutes later they actually did come to get them.
A little bit. I just like in that scene. It's like, okay, everybody's kind of establishing he's kind of cantankerous. He doesn't want to be there, so he starts kind of playing tricks on his sister or whatnot, and just trying to tease her. So he's just being a bit of a jerk anyway.
Right.
So it follows through on a mentality of the character.
This is a really great scene for her.
Oh, yeah.
This is well acted.
Mm-hmm.
That picture is too small for that space. Sorry. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, these two are really, really fantastic.
And, you know, we talk a lot about over the, you know, whoa!
Uh-huh.
Beat that bitch! That was a different movie.
Stop her screaming.
Right, there you go. There you go. That's also a different movie.
Yes.
Available in the archives now. So, we often talk in our screenplay structures about the logical progression of the actions of the characters, and do what the, you know, is what's happening on the screen the result of what happened previously, or is it just something else to do? And I think that scene was a really great example of, you know, her overreacting, well, not overreacting, but her reacting to the day, assessing it, and then suddenly realizing that maybe he's still out there and he's still alive. And
compared to some things where, like we've said before, like some people are in a scene where they have a loved one who dies or some other traumatic thing happens and they don't really sell the situation. That did very naturally and very understandably through a moment of hysteria and trauma.
Right, and it's funny because she doesn't start with,
right,
we got to go get Johnny. Like,
right.
She literally has to talk about the steps of everything that happened before she realizes, oh shit.
Because he's going through the story of, like, he stopped at a gas station and whatnot, and they start swarming him, and I was trying to get help from other people, and stuff starts going off in different directions. So she starts relating what happened to her getting up to this point. So it's a very natural interaction in that regard.
And as her psychosis crescendos, she's like, wait, he's still out there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he's the voice of reason saying, no, honey, he gone.
So it's just a great way of showing different personalities grappling with a similar situation.
Right.
He had some heartbreaking stuff you witnessed on the way here, but he's just in such a very focused mode of survival.
And also, here is a way of giving exposition that is not
stopping the film.
Right. It's also logical.
Yeah.
And it makes sense.
Yeah.
Because in 1968,
radio was everything. Really.
There might not be a TV in every household. Yeah. And radio really still was king.
Yeah.
So, you want to listen to the news, you turn on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
Look at this guy building a torch out of the leg. That's brilliant. And so the radio is now telling us the information that we need.
Yeah, perfect.
So probably my third and final major complaint is, where did all of those things suddenly arrive from?
All I can say is there's a cemetery nearby. That's all I can tell you.
Well,
especially if we don't see them
breaking
out the
right,
ground
exactly.
Or
That's
like
the
that.
other thing.
They don't particularly look like they've been kind of buried or anything like that.
I love the ironing board. That's amazing. I can't imagine that there's this many people that have died in their homes in the neighborhood to just come back to life.
Yeah, and it needs a little more emphasis on someone rising from the dead and things are more dead. Or it would require a deeper commitment towards the makeup effects to make them look more rotted, more like stuff we would see later on with much more elaborate, higher budgeted type of films.
So it kind of leads me to believe that maybe they all were just people that were buried, which is fine, except for some of them are wearing no clothes, and you're like, wait, what? And there just seems to be, for such a rural setting, so many of them.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I get it. That's me being way too nitpicky. I understand. But I'm also very logical, and I'm a realist. And when you put yourself in the situation, just a few hours ago, they're out walking around in the cemetery, and there's literally one.
Yeah.
And now, by the end of the movie, just a few hours later, or maybe 24 hours later, there's 200 of them.
Something, yeah.
Or whatever. A
few dozen at least.
I think it's more than that.
Well, at least in terms of what they're encountering here.
So, I just don't get the logic in where did they come from. And maybe that's me being an asshole, and I don't need to know where they come from, and just shut up and be entertained. Okay. Fine. The smoking always makes me laugh. Just how everybody smoked. He's boarding up the house and looking for guns, and he's just working a heater while he's doing it. You see, they put a little bruise on her face there.
From the slap.
she's not going to be like, "Hey, Ike Turner, why did you hit me?" It is. I always really liked the how the news reporting goes from we don't know what's going on to here's some really crazy theories of what's going on to
we're calling in the military now. It's
right. Well, then
blow them all away.
They do at some point like go. It seems that but we can't even believe we're reporting this. But it seems like people are dead and coming back to life.
Yeah.
How is that possible? Like. Again, it's that natural progression. And I think that even that is really well done. Of
that slow descent into everything, yeah.
Right.
The reality settling in.
Because, I guess in the long run, even though we didn't know it in 1968, this is like, you're seeing, like, ground zero, I guess, or the first night.
Yeah.
And they're reporting on the news that it's happening all around the country. So it's not necessarily ground zero as far as, like, case number one.
Yeah.
But... it's the beginning.
The epidemic is spreading already.
Right. It's
when you start the film.
It's the beginning of, like, up until yesterday, this wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
And today it is. The genesis, I guess, is a better word than...
Sure.
And I like this because now they're referring to them as murderers.
Yeah.
Like, people are being murdered, and we can't explain...
And cannibalism is involved, yeah.
Sure. And we can't explain who they are or why. Now, when I watched this for the first time...
Sure.
And I was going to say maybe this is a midpoint, but we're not quite there yet. We're not quite there yet.
Runs about 1:37, hour 37.
Right, and we're only at 42, 43 minutes.
Yeah, it's a little short of it.
So, I was shocked the first time I watched this that there were people in the basement.
Other people in there, yeah.
So there are, or there are not.
Yes.
Is there anybody else in this house?
Yes. No, there is, or no, there isn't.
And then he says it too. Those things.
Yeah.
I love it. I do love how well this guy is written.
Oh, yeah.
He is a 1950s piece of shit. And I love it. And the little guy there is very, Burt Ward-ish.
I was going to say, when I was watching, it's like he's got very much a Burt Ward delivery of lines.
Yeah. I think that the character is supposed to be younger than this man.
Yeah, it feels like he's supposed to. I even looked up. This is the only IMDb credit he's got.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was looking up the right guy. I think it was. It's not that many people in the cast that get it wrong.
Right. I don't know if it's his natural stature, but
slumped over,
the way he's hunched over, but it's very aggressive.
Yeah, yeah.
And I love it.
You can feel the tension he's probably got up his neck and shoulders and everything about it.
Still got his tie clip on, though. That says something about 1967, right? Or 66 it's taking place in.
See if I can figure out how old the kid is.
I mean, it looks like
he's...
Get
a little perspective.
It looks like he's, late 20s. But everybody in this era appeared older than they were.
I think it's Keith Wayne, then. Real name, Ronald Keith Hardman. He was born 45, so...
He would have been 22, 23? But he looks like
22 looks a lot older back then. It looks more like 32. Yeah, this apparently was his only film role. In the early 90s became a chiropractor.
Maybe he could help out the old man.
Maybe. Passed away in 95. Well, a lot of the folks in this thing passed away in like their 50s or something. Duane Jones passed away in like 88.
That was a good little jump scare. We haven't had any terror in a while.
Yeah, I need a little adrenaline shot.
Right, because now we're...
Judith O'Day, she's still around.
That's Barbara?
Yep.
I feel like sometime in the last 5 years she did a convention appearance.
77. Still get around.
Well, yeah, I met Clue...
Gulager.
Right, when he was on his 91st birthday or something, 90th birthday.
Something around there, yeah.
Yeah. And here we're really, like, establishing the rules.
Right.
I love, if you tell me the rules, as ridiculous as they are, as long as you tell me the rules and then you follow the rules, it's fine.
Yeah.
So, they shot him 3 times.
In the torso.
Right, they shot him 6 times.
Yeah.
And then once in the head, and then it was done.
Lights out. Yeah.
So here comes, was this lady buried nude? No, no.
She's got like a tag around her wrist.
So is she from the hospital, like the morgue?
Maybe the morgue, I don't know.
That would make sense.
He's got a little more work on him. I can buy they've been buried for a while.
Right. This is kind of great, right? The eating of the bugs.
I mean, after we get to the end of the thing, when you look back at these two different characters and their strategies are dictated, how much you agree with them is based on how much you agree with the mentality of the character. Ben feels a lot more diplomatic to a certain degree. He seems more level-headed, so you believe him more that staying up here and having different avenues to get out of the thing, even though you're more vulnerable, it seems like a better idea than locking yourself in the cellar, where you're kind of bored in tighter, but if you get in, if they get in there, then you got no way out. Despite the fact that at the end of the film, that's exactly what Ben does. And he does survive.
Right.
Until unfortunate things afterwards, but in terms of like the living dead attack, it is a stronghold that worked out. So the fact that Cooper here, he's aggressive and he's kind of a jerk overall, and he's very much kind of dictating things to people. You don't want to agree with him at any point in time, even though that if you just put the two strategies on paper, like, okay, you can see kind of equal merits to them. But the fact that you disagree with going down there is because you disagree with the guy and the way he's going about the situation.
Yeah, it's the delivery. It's the delivery, right?
If it's reversed, then you would go down there because just the way that things presented.
Which is a testament to how well the character is written.
Yeah.
Where do you stand? Are you a stay up or a go down? If you're in the situation.
If I'm in the situation, I'm almost thinking like go all the way upstairs.
Oh, you're okay.
I'd almost do that because at least you can probably get down from a window and slip out that way. I don't know.
Well,
more of a bird's eye view of what's going on.
Okay, so using that logic, upstairs is accessible from the ground floor.
Yeah.
So you're choosing Ben in the ground floor, or
I suppose,
as opposed to secluded in the basement, because if you're not in the basement, every other thing is available to you.
Yeah.
I'm also not picking the basement. I'm staying with Ben.
Right. Because it still feels like, and I'm backing myself into a corner here. It feels uneasy to a degree.
So that, I guess, is our midpoint. When he goes downstairs, and now
about the kid.
We've decided. Well, we knew about that from a minute ago, but the sides have been chosen now.
Yeah.
Everybody pick a side.
Yeah.
And now everybody's done that. This girl had a pretty easy era. She's only got like one scene in the movie where she's not laying on the bench.
It's like Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween 2.
Yep. I was just thinking that.
She's got better hair, though.
Now, which one of these people is a guitar player?
I don't know. It's not their place.
I don't know, it's weird because there's like luggage next to it. So
sure,
you could argue that maybe the luggage belongs to one of the people in this house that, you know, brought it with them. But maybe not. I don't know. Could just be the storage of the luggage in the basement of the farmhouse. There we go. Yeah, she's fiery Italian there. Mm-hmm. Here's one of those situations where you, as well written as everybody is, you start questioning why these two are married to begin with.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, because they've kind of presented, like, the entire 100% of the time that we've known them as the audience, they're kind of against each other, right?
Towards each other, yeah.
Right. So, as an audience member, you just kind of extrapolate and think, oh, well, that's just how they are.
Yeah.
So, why are they married?
Uh-huh.
I also don't buy that he's like a loving father either. From, you know, he's not concerned about the kid. It doesn't seem like, I have friends that are fathers, and if their child is even remotely in peril, that's the first thing out of their mouth. Like, I need to protect my kid.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that feels like it feels like an unspoken thing about his character. It feels like it should be spoken. That he should kind of relate more that part of the argument is like, I have my kid down here. I'm not going to expose him to any danger. I'm not going to leave him vulnerable for anything. I'm going to keep him locked down here as safe as possible. I think that should have been
more verbally,
of a humanizing element to kind of balance him a little bit more.
the clenched fists.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She belongs in the psych ward. Television. Now, why didn't she react the same way with the television as she did with the radio? She about lost her mind when she found out there was a radio. Maybe she doesn't own a TV. Maybe she doesn't understand how, nice they are. I wonder if that playing with the wedding ring was intentional.
I was just thinking.
Is that intentional, or is that...
I would bet that's an intentional actor idea.
If so, that's really well... That's a great little piece.
There's a nice little moment earlier. It was like almost like a nothing moment, but when Ben's kind of sifting through the toolbox, he finds a screwdriver and then he just kind of flips it over and grabs it in his hands. Like, those are actor moments. They just add something more into the scene, just like a spark or something like that. Just like something that just conveys a little extra something about the character's attitude in the moment.
Right. Like that, I'm sure that's not in the script.
Right.
That's just what feels natural to the person in the moment at the time. Didn't he just light a cigarette?
Lit one
downstairs,
2 minutes ago.
Downstairs, yeah.
Don't worry about the fucking zombies. You'll smoke yourself to death in a fucking night.
Yeah, I mean, that's a 2-pack-a-day habit at least. At least. Maybe 4. I mean, maybe 5, like Mellencamp. Remember the good old days of all you needed was a socket? All you gotta do is just plug the TV in and then...
Yeah, it futs around the antennas for an hour.
Right.
It's nice.
He did say that earlier.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
the boss down there, I'm the boss up here.
Yeah.
That's a very clear picture.
It's clearly they took a still image and superposed the TV footage over it.
This is, again, like this progression of even the news, the media's understanding of what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
And so the audience is learning with the characters.
Yeah.
Which, like, that's everything that I dream about.
Right.
Like that is the quintessential way that, like, stories should be told. Like, the worst thing that they could do, would be like have the news people be like, oh, you have to hit them in the head.
Right.
Or kill their brain.
Yeah.
And then all of these people, like, missed it. And so we spend the whole movie of them not doing that. Even though we know that that's how...
Right.
Like, that would be the worst.
Yeah.
Right. Get the hell out. The military is on the way. Can you imagine being in the National Guard this day?
Oh boy. Wow.
And the commanding officer says, hey, there's some shit going down.
Well, we'll definitely get into that in Dawn, for certain.
Right. We need you to go and, rescue mission or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, talking back about, like, how people kept trying to make, like, different versions of this. Like, they did the colorized version a couple of times. They did a 3D version. but it was the one that was done in the late 90s by John Russo, where he actually went and shot new scenes and recut the entire film. That was like the most reviled version.
Oh, wow.
Like add new scenes to expand the story or other weird things. Like, you're like, what the fuck is this? It was like...
It'd be really weird. Especially, when was that?
98.
So that's only 8 years removed from Savini's remake.
Right.
So why? Why?
I mean, Russo said he wanted to make the film feel more modern to a certain degree, but it's like, it feels just like just another thing to like, okay, reestablish a copyright on some version you can have as your own and make the most money off of it.
Right, because every time you do a restoration or an upgrade, then you get to trademark your version.
Yeah.
Totally makes sense.
Because I was reading, I don't know if it was, I think it was Wikipedia, that's like, just on Prime Video alone, there's dozens of copies of this film up on there because you can just grab it from anywhere. Grab some old VHS or some old fucking compilation DVD and just slap it up there, and who's going to do anything with it unless they can identify it as their own restoration if they did one at all.
Right.
I swear, they did like a 3D remake of it. I think Sid Haig was in it. I didn't see it or anything. I know they just tried to milk this to such a degree and trying to circumvent the copyright situation, and there's like an animated version of it too. It's so weird.
I'm very interested in the animated version.
I got to Washington on this thing. Damn. I don't think they got a permit for that. They were doing a lot of guerrilla filmmaking on this thing, I'll tell you.
Right. Well, yeah, because that was the Capitol building in the background.
Oh, yeah.
And
get something that looks like a diplomatic car or whatnot with the flags. I mean, I don't even think that was a sedan. That looked like a coupe to me. But that looked like a pretty shiny, expensive car.
His dialogue is not very profound.
Not profound, and yeah, his delivery is a little on the stilted side of things. He definitely doesn't feel like he has as much experience as the rest of the cast.
This is a bad bitch right there. She knows what's up.
Oh, she knows.
she knows how to act. She knows how to be sassy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the Burt Ward character.
Yeah.
Burt Ward light.
Yes.
Like, you get the feeling that it's his first movie. You know, he doesn't know how to just live in the moment.
Yeah.
He's delivering dialogue.
Yeah, right.
She's reacting.
Oh, yeah.
He's reacting.
Yeah.
The kid's just acting.
Yeah.
Any good acting is reacting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Jones, he commands the screen so very well. He's got that. He carries that confidence of a leader with him. He's so good about it.
What do you make of in the last couple of scenes here, the low camera angles? Is it noticeable to you, or is it
a tad?
Is it an effective styling? Like, even this is not straight on. It's shot from down low up. It's got an upward trajectory.
Maybe a little bit more towards like the kids' sort of like eye line to a degree.
Right. That's her first two words of dialogue. To make any arrangements.
Arrangements. Burn him like a Viking in a pyre.
There you go. You may not have a boat or a whatever, but
there's a film, Night of the Viking Dead.
There you go.
Come back from Valhalla.
Hey!
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of like obsessed with why some of the angles are from down low and some are straight on. By the way, it's not out of the question. Every single farmhouse has a case of ball mason jars in the basement. So
Yeah.
I'm not calling BS on that one. That's legit all day long. I could really go for one of those old record players that they got there. I don't know if you saw, but Cooper, even standing here, has his fists clenched.
Oh.
So, not like tight,
Yeah.
but he's got two fists at the bottom. Like, and I just think that's interesting. Like, that's a great character thing.
And here he's just warming up because, okay, we got a hope of maybe getting out of this situation. Okay, I'll loosen up a little bit just to kind of see this thing through as far as I can.
Can't get over that friggin' leopard on the wall next to the wild boar.
Oh, that lamp.
Oh, God, no. What is that? I don't even know what where you would go to buy home decor in the 60s.
Oh.
Like, I guess they're all just like mom and pop kind of operations, right?
Possibly, unless they're like Sears Roebuck.
I was going to say the Sears catalog is like the number one thing.
Yeah.
Right?
National.
Is that from the Sears catalog, that lamp?
I'd have to veto that off the page.
Super fun. I actually really enjoy gift giving for my parents. Is I like to buy them magazines and such from the years that they were born.
Okay.
And I didn't. So if you go back and you look on eBay for like a Sears catalog from the 60s, they are so expensive.
Oh, God. Well, because they're so rare. How are you going to find them?
And they're friggin' 3 inches thick.
Oh, yeah.
So, but I found other kinds of catalog. There are other brands of catalog.
Yeah, something that's a little less in demand.
Right. And looking through those is so fun to see what was available, to see the cost, right? Handy dandy inflation calculator needed. They were on their way to go swimming in those clothes.
Yeah. In December, if that calendar is correct.
The calendar did say December, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
He said they were going swimming at the lake. So either they were going for a polar plunge, or he's a big fat liar, or the calendar's wrong. I guess those are all three possible.
Yeah. I think the cellar door just looks like someone just cut it out of the wall.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a door at all. One of those hidden passageways.
Right. The cook. Yeah, I wish I had one of those record players there. That's nice. The old like wind-up gimmick with the big horn on it. Okay, so he's going out to go to the gas pump.
Yeah. Fuel the truck. They can hopefully get the hell out of here.
That's another thing. This whole idea of there being a gas pump on the property that's locked.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that was a common thing,
back in the day.
Back in the day. I feel like it's hard to relate, if my 15-year-old nephew was watching this, he'd be like,
right.
Well, I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's pretty effective.
Yeah.
Like, that looked good. I wonder if did they actually, like, that looks real.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's really a...
Real deal, yeah, oh, getting close to the...
Right.
Oh, there's one.
Tony Caesar?
There's a Caesar.
I wonder what kind of stunt work was available for Burns in 1967. Like, did that gel that they have exist? I doubt it. I doubt it.
Checking Tony's stuff, he started around 75 or so.
Okay. You stupid bitch. Where are you going? Even he's like, wait. This is probably the first time in the movie where you're really...
A little more on edge.
Right. Like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm actually, like, tense about the whole thing. There's terror.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of jump scare here and there. But... like, that guy didn't even have makeup on. I think he was just...
There's probably a few of them that are more lightly done.
Right.
All.
Like, if your face really isn't going to be on screen, then...
If you're further back, we can spare the makeup kit. I like that they keep coming back to Cooper, and he's kind of washing through the slats and everything. It gives that extra level of tension to it.
Well,
a little more anxiety.
It's kind of twofold. Like, one, it advances his character as
a bit unreliable,
right?
Kind of not so much a coward, but
not as confident as he once appeared.
Yeah.
But then it also gives the audience, like you said,
skittishness.
Right. It gives perspective.
Yeah.
It's reaction. Mm-hmm. This is actually pretty creative, I think.
Yeah.
And the music is very...
Yeah.
It's crescendoed to the point where...
And it's the interesting thing, the entire film's done through library tracks. They had no dedicated composer for the film.
So, let me ask you this. If we were to just grab an old copy and put a brand new score on it...
I think that's been done before.
We could just claim it as our own?
I think that happened in the John Russo 98 version. Okay. I think they rescored it with a proper composer. But yeah, if what you're saying is like if you got a version where the music tracks was stripped out and you put a new one on it, maybe.
Does that qualify as we could trademark that version then?
Well, you look at what's it? It's a Wonderful Life. The film's technically public domain, but Warner Brothers still owns the rights on the music and everything in the film. So that's how they keep a hold on it. So in a way, you could probably use the footage without the audio on it, but I'm sure they still come after you.
Probably.
Because they probably have more lawyers than you do.
That's true. Yes, they do. I have 0 lawyers. I don't know about you.
Yes.
Yeah, here we really
here
get the
he is.
character
Yeah.
shift, right?
Yeah. He saw the thing blow up. He's like, what's the point of even letting him back in anyway?
And
you know?
that look right there was like, you dirty son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And now he's going to help.
And more just for his own fucking sense
you don't think that was
of being.
You don't think that was a...
Maybe a little bit of shame for him, yeah.
Shame, yeah. I think that was guilt.
A little guilt, yeah.
And there's a little remorse.
There's the look.
Remorse.
There it is. Just smacking people all over the place, man.
Oh, yeah, he's really knocking him around.
Samuel L. Jackson watched this stuff. Was like, man, that's what I want to start doing, man. Smack some white boys around.
Well, yeah, but Sam Jackson will just motherfuck you to death, right?
Yeah.
You know? You're telling me that's the only blood that's on him?
Yeah.
Old boy's wearing a ring. I don't know if you saw that, like a class ring.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would fuck you up.
Yeah, he'd have been.
Knock
he'd have
your
been
teeth
hurting.
out, man.
He'd have been hurting. Because he hit him 6 times. He hit him 6 times. And here we have, at the 1 hour and 15-minute mark, we have the first real instance of, like, true special effect horror moment.
Yeah.
Like, wait, we're really going to watch them eat this? Look at this. Friggin' intestines.
Yeah, one of the guys had a chain of butcher shops. They got some raw fucking innards from.
Like, that looks like a liver. That looks like a turkey leg.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But the little meat, like, that looks like a fake arm with ketchup on it.
Sour cream or something.
But, like, that's gross.
Yeah.
And
68, yeah. That's what it kicks in.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I just barfed in the movie theater.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what everyone was getting on about with the critics and everything. It's like, you really should prepare people a little bit for this, Just give it a little bit of a warning,
Yeah.
It's not the standard. I think with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you kind of know what you're getting into. You see,
it's in the title, yeah.
It's in the title, man.
Yeah, she's, like, still really fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a Victrola, that record player. Is that a wig? I'm trying to look at the hair. Usually you can tell by looking at the hairline. And it's so bouffanty that you can't tell the shadow.
Yeah.
Like, hers looks pretty natural, Barbara's.
Yeah.
But I can't tell with the shadows, but it almost looks like there's a, you can see the little line that goes across. I could be completely off, but it's just the way that it's sitting, like, at the very top of her forehead. And it might
it's a little messed up now, too, so
it might just be her hair, and...
Just the style. It's a little...
Right.
Yeah.
He's playing slinky with it. There's that lady's nude ass. The
It's the catering for the film.
Okay, so part of me thinks that, I feel like I read this, that I don't know if it's Cooper's wife or one of these people, I think, played the ghoul that ate the bug by the tree. Like it was the same actress.
I don't know if I'll be able to find that information.
I want to say, I feel like maybe it wasn't the bug by the tree, but I feel like one of these people also played somebody else. Or it was one of the directors or producers or...
Cooper's wife also played a female ghoul eating an insect.
There you go! How crazy is that? Oh, here we go. We got Halloween 5 coming out here. Or was it 4? I guess it was 4 where it was 4.
More.
Yeah. Old Ted Hollister got it in the bushes.
Yeah.
Just from folks just like this.
All the stogies he's got.
Yeah, look at that. And this guy with the stogies. This guy here is the police chief with this bayonet, the bullet belt, whatever they call that thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they've done a perfect job of casting the good old boys of the South.
Good old boys, yeah.
Even the thing is, the guy on the TV's calling them these things. They go up pretty easy. That's a great line.
It felt almost ad-libby.
Right, yeah. They're very slow until they're not, in which case then they move like regular people. Brings me back to my first major complaint about...
Yeah. It definitely feels like Romero works out the kinks 10 years later when he does Dawn on the portrayal and everything more consistent.
I guess that was a whole 10 years later, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Does Dawn takes place like immediately after this, right? Like it's supposed to be.
The implication. I've never seen Day yet, but I think a lot of them are a little more. What's the word? Not so much ambiguous, or whatnot, but not entirely clear exactly what it is. But at least they are subsequent entries in a timeline chronology. But at least that's the way it feels. It feels like it's like the next day Dawn happens, and it's escalated further.
That's kind of the impression that I got, is that Dawn is like the next day after this.
Yeah.
Even though it's 10 years later.
Yeah. And it does feel like it's definitely 70s and everything. But even then, this doesn't feel like it's... There's nothing like style-wise completely that feels like it's have to be set in the 60s.
Well, except...
No one's really styled that way as much. I mean, maybe a little bit with Barbara with her hair, maybe with her clothes, but not something you'd say so much.
See, I'd almost go the other way, and I'd say it's older. Like, he's 1955 to me.
Yeah, he feels more 50s. But more just in terms of aesthetics. I'm just saying. Well,
and for 1967, 68, you don't necessarily think about a black man in the lead. So that you know, to those of us that live now, we project that to be later than 60s. Because if you said black guy 1968, I'm thinking, like, that guy has to use a different drinking fountain. Like
in some parts of the freaking country.
Like, that blows my mind.
Right. But probably a good 5 years later, you got blaxploitation films all over the place. You got stars bursting out everywhere.
Right. And 50 years later, a black man is president.
Yes.
So, like, the progression, we've done pretty well.
Yeah.
But, like, I guess that goes to say how timeless this is. Maybe not then, but now. And here you go. Is he going to do it? Like, what a setup we've got here. And he does.
Yeah.
He literally shoots him.
I mean, it's the interesting thing.
Oh, no.
Just say, I mean, it's an interesting thing with the Cooper character that Romero was trying to go for something civil rights focused in that way of casting a black man. Cooper feels like he's half a step away from being a bigot.
Oh, 100%. I was going to say, did we miss the scene with the kid in the basement yet? But we didn't.
No. She's getting there.
I feel like I'm mixing up the timeline here because he gets shot awfully early in comparison.
Yeah, she gets up and attacks the mother when she comes down.
Right, but I didn't think that the dad was already down there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's getting, 6 ways from Sunday through the door.
There's the original guy. He's still here.
Oh, the one that chased Barbara through the...
I think so. I think that's the same guy with the white hair. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, see. Just a stump now.
Such a Karen.
Mm-hmm.
That really, now that I'm thinking about it, that's way better because she's eating her own father.
Yeah.
That really makes it good.
And the makeup's really good in the kid, too. I like the stuff around the eyes.
You couldn't just do anything but lay there and scream? That's good, though. I don't know. The story is good. The execution's a little meh, but... This delay on the vocal is, or whatever,
really unsettling.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
That could be the same guy.
Yeah. There we go. Payoff.
That's a really good callback.
Mm-hmm.
That's really well done.
Uh-huh.
That he's the one that grabs her and brings her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
See, that guy in the vest there didn't look like he had any makeup on.
Yeah. Ugh.
Oh, yep. He knows how to throw women around here. And you're right, to your point, like, it is interesting that he ends up...
Right where Cooper said was the best place to go.
Right. With the conscience of having killed that man.
Yeah.
Everybody's just, like, again... Where are all these people coming from? How do they all know to go to this house? What are they looking for? Why don't they eat each other? Like, that kind of folklore has been addressed in future, more current things like The Walking Dead or whatever.
Okay.
But there is, like, you said... There is no template. There is no There's no rule book that has yet to be established.
Yeah.
That's tremendous. Oh yeah, back to life. One-arm Willie. Wasting all your bullets like a dummy.
Oh.
I like that her heart's beating and it's making the thing move. Although it's fine because now she's back to life. So.
Oh, look at that.
And he's out of bullets because he hit Cooper 4 times. Where's the guitar? The guitar's gone. Do you notice that?
Oh.
It was standing up on the brown box next to the luggage.
Yeah, it was.
I make an offhanded asshole remark about the guitar and then come back an hour later and we found a continuity error. That's hilarious. How amazing would it have been to be, like, directing or in the room for that? Like, like just, hey, everybody, you're dead.
Right.
Pretend like you're dead. What does that mean? I don't know. Just lumber around and look at shit.
Right.
Bang on some stuff.
Got a little
the little pistol
pop gun. Yeah,
that's hilarious. We'll have to. This helicopter also kind of makes me think that that's why it's a continuation, because the first Dawn. Yeah. Dawn opens with a helicopter shot.
Oh yeah, a lot of chopper stuff in that.
I wonder if we can find some continuity where maybe it's that same chopper or a a similar one. I can't get over the sheriff.
It's like a lot. I think it was like a lot of the stuff when they were doing the newsreel stuff. I think a lot of the towns and counties they're talking about were probably like Ohio, like Youngstown, Ohio, or something like that.
Well, Ohio does neighbor.
Yeah,
Pittsburgh is on the edge of Ohio.
Yeah, so
it's very close. So suburban Pittsburgh, is in Ohio. Rescue. The sound of rescue.
Oh, that guy's done it well.
I love cops in the 50s and 60s always took a knee to shoot. It's hilarious to me.
Yeah, Romero actually was trying to get Savini on this film, but he got put into Vietnam as a wartime photographer. Tom Savini, yeah.
What a job that is.
I mean, he brought a lot of that stuff into later things. I mean, he saw the real gruesome stuff. He knew what it looked like in real life.
That's unbelievable.
Oh yeah. We'll definitely get one of his opuses with Dawn. His fluorescent gore.
Yeah. Yeah, the blood in Dawn is not good. It's orange. In black and white, your Bosco looks just like blood.
Right. Very Sweet Baby Ray's that I used.
That's right. That's what you used?
Yeah.
Shout out to Sweet Baby Ray's if you're listening to this and would like to sponsor our show.
Some tangy blood.
Yum. Got it. I love barbecue sauce. You can see where this is coming a mile away.
Oh, yeah.
And it still breaks your heart just the same, doesn't it?
Looks like Harvey Keitel there. Right there.
Yeah, it does, actually.
Oh.
Wow. What a great ending. What a great ending.
Oh. I mean, this really did hit at just like the exact right moment in cinema history where they're starting to get that new Hollywood movement. You're starting to get these new filmmakers starting to do a little more challenging things. Something that's a little more violent, too. I mean, it's just starting up at this point in time.
Right. It's not just a studio picture.
Yeah.
You know, MGM would not have made this movie.
No.
Warner Brothers would not have made this movie.
No. Like I said, it just really sets the tone and blazes a trail for all those independent films that come up throughout the next couple of decades.
No, Chili Belly.
Mm-hmm. It's like I can even think like Blair Witch Project owes to this film too.
A little bit, yeah.
Shows that you can go out and with limited resources, but with a lot of vision, you can achieve something pretty impactful.
I do think that you can really see Texas Chainsaw in this.
100%.
More so than just about any of the other indies.
Yeah.
Like, even Halloween feels really polished compared...
Yeah.
Whereas Chainsaw feels the same... It has the same... I don't know, that just
energy,
the feel, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, I'm along for the ride with this guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah. You know, I know Evil Dead is not your thing, but definitely, if people know Evil Dead, would definitely probably see that sort of spirit going forward into that. And that was the same type of thing. A film that came out in the early 80s that was done on the cheap and running gun type of things. And people were just like, I'm going to shoot that in my backyard with a freaking VHS camera or a Super 8 camera or some shit. So it's like, it just, these things just kept repeating themselves as you went along.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how these
couple of films.
Zombie films evolve over the next little bit.
Yeah, so we'll eventually get around to Dawn, Day, and then the remake of Night, and then remake of Dawn, and potentially Land of the Dead.
Yeah. Yep. I like it.
Yep. So, guys, look forward to that soon, and thanks so much for joining us.
Adios.